Are they? I mean, wow. I mean, but last night's game, going back to last night's game, I would say this. I have known Jaden Seals for a very long time. And I
Tell me what you think about Marcus.
Good morning to all out there listening or viewing or whatever media you are tuned in. Welcome to another edition of Policing with You. I'm your host for today, Inspector Marvin Thompson. Today's show, we just want to share some information and maybe have a brief conversation at the end. We'll be dealing with some of the issues that we've seen popping up again related to, scams, fraud, whether that be on the internet, and we're still having the issues with persons being defrauded on social media platforms like Facebook. So we're just going to have maybe a brief conversation and just mention some points, maybe give some tips in terms of some of the things you can do to avoid being a victim of these incidents, and then maybe we have a conversation, give the callers a chance to share some of their views, maybe their experiences, and maybe add to the conversation in terms of giving advice. So we'll break, and then we'll come right back and get into the conversation.
Watch your step there, little man. That party's falling.
See, where will we live?
Well, son, that would take a long time. So let's not worry about that right now. Just enjoy the beach, okay?
Daddy, when Grandpa brought you to the beach, was it slipping in then?
I can't remember, but that shed over there was not so close to the water, so I guess so.
So, Daddy, when I bring my children to the beach, will there even be a beach still? I learned all about climate change in school, and teachers said we have to change our habits or it would be even worse.
So, big man, what do you think we should do?
Really? Who is the daddy here anyway?
Okay. We will ask your teacher where she got her information, and then we'll do our own little part.
Good, because I want to keep coming to the beach with you, even when you're like 100.
Change your heart, change your habit. We the people can change how we approach the impact of climate change. A message of hope from Island Resilience, promoting a climate of change.
This is my land, my island, our home. It's time to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong.
Island Resilience, promoting a climate of change. The Climate Change Adaptation and Sustainable Land Management Initiative of the OECS Commission, funded by the European Union.
Go to islandresilience.org for more information or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Water is life, 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 life. Water is life, 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 life. Do just one thing,
Every drop counts. Make sure you check for leaks around your house every day. Every drop counts. When brushing your teeth, don't let the water run away. Come save the water, preserve the water right now. Every drop counts. Save the water whenever you take in your shower. Every drop counts. Make saving the water your business every hour. The water right now. It's up to me and you and you and you and you. The water right now.
do just one thing.
Good morning again and welcome back. For those of you who may just be joining us, welcome to Policing With You. I'm your host for today, Inspector Marvin Thompson. Like I said earlier, we will be just touching this morning a little about some of the fraud activity, scams, more commonly called, that we're seeing popping up again. We're still seeing issues where persons are using social media, such as Facebook, to defraud persons of property or of money. While technology offers us access to areas, things that we may not have had access to, generally, when I was growing up, they said the world was a small world. It's even smaller now with technology. And we can stay in our homes and purchase things from the other side of the world with ease. And that's a legitimate course of action. They're legitimate businesses that function that way. Online business is the business of today, more so than the brick and mortar. Many of us use Amazon, Temu, Shein and purchase things and do legitimate business with legitimate entities. However, some persons are still being defrauded. A recent incident that I saw, someone paid to purchase a vehicle. They had a contact person, not a person based on the information that they would have seen, but that they were conversing with on the phone. Purportedly a person within the Federation. Did all the necessary work, sent finances to the individual who supposedly was acting as a third party to purchase the item, and shortly after money was sent, contact became less until you weren't getting the person at all. First it was excuses, then it was more or less a block. You can't get access to that. What I have seen, and I've had the, I guess, fortunate or unfortunate incident of being part of a WhatsApp chat. One of the contacts in the chat eventually found out that their WhatsApp chat seemed to have been hacked. And James was calling me and asking for, James wanted me to click on a link in the WhatsApp chat so that he could send me a Zoom credentials to add me to some kind of meeting. I was part of a meeting group. He wanted to add me to the meeting. So he wanted me to click on the link he sent me so that he could send me the access. I just asked him to send me the Zoom credentials, and when I get the opportunity, I would log in. Up to now, James haven't responded. I thought that was a one-off until I saw an update in the chat that one of the contacts was hacked, and James was making rounds calling a number of persons. So when the person started sharing the information, I realized that there was something going on, and the person had to change the number. That was earlier this year. As recent as last week, had a similar incident in another chat. An individual was asking persons to, using the person's credentials, reaching out to members of the chat, asking them to lend them money that they would refund at a particular time because they were facing a dire situation. And of course, they were playing on the emotions, had an emergency. Really hate to be asking you for the money. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't a real emergency. Can you help me? And then they make the plea. Fortunately, because this was so pervasive, at least in that chat, there was no one who, as far as I know, fell for that. And what was good was that they were sharing information that this is happening. This happened to X person's WhatsApp number. So be on the lookout for the particular number and share or block and block.
The fact that you're bringing this to the table this morning, is it a concern? It seems to be a concern that let me just be blunt. Is all people gullible?
Unfortunately, some persons are. Unfortunately, you still find one or two persons, at least my knowledge, who give in or who respond positively and send money, or sometimes, unfortunately, some persons, you may say gullible, good-hearted naturally, and you try to help. And unfortunately, there are persons who take advantage of that kind of thing. And what you would have sometimes is that's part of the change in society, that persons hear the stories of how persons violate trust, and then persons are not as giving. And that becomes the norm. So charitable deeds and voluntary work is not as forthcoming because persons don't want to be used, violated, as we might say.
Right.
Yeah. But that is unfortunate.
But I don't want to sidetrack your conversation.
That's fine.
I'm listening to you, and I understand it's a concern from the police. For the police, is it particular St. Kitts alone, or is it St. Kitts and Nevis?
St. Kitts Nevis. Unfortunately, some of what, because, in the incident that I mentioned where I was in the WhatsApp chat, in that chat there are persons from the Caribbean. So I got called, persons in Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, St. Vincent also got calls. So that was Caribbean. Two of the chats, two of the incidents. But that is also happening in St. Kitts Nevis. I'm not sure if the Caribbean is seen as a softer target, why you're seeing a lot of that now. But like I said, the small world, the technology that connects us does not just connect us to positive things.
I understand not only from your end, I know of a couple businesses as well. I'll mention one, Digicel in particular. They were dealing with some issues early this year. I know they got it sorted out. They had a whole campaign where they rolled out and reached out to customers, came on air, and reassured customers. However, though, it seems that the campaign should continue on a national scale.
I think this is something that we need to consistently push in the mind of persons to stay vigilant. Pay attention. If it seems to have died off and something happens, just stay vigilant. If you're unsure, don't move. Don't act. Or seek some kind of counsel. Talk to a friend. Talk to somebody, whether it's from the bank or someone else. Talk to police. Talk to somebody who might be able to share some more information and advise you in terms of what might be the next steps or what you might be getting into. Just don't operate in a silo. I know nowadays we don't want persons minding our business, like we said, but sometimes that leads to us being negatively affected because we didn't share, we didn't ask before we acted.
What are the success stories? Are there any success stories? Like, for example, the first story you mentioned, what was the outcome of that? Did the person get back their money?
No,
was the person...
Unfortunately, no. Didn't know where to go. You had the information, but that was it. You had the information. But because there was nothing that we could pick up to start with, at least not from our standpoint. Sometimes you get information, you have information, but in terms of, you get a call from, you're making a deal with somebody from somewhere you're purporting to be St. Kitts. And a number, that is, WhatsApp. So I could be calling from wherever, and the number is not necessarily linked to anybody in St. Kitts. Even though the person tells you they're from St. Kitts, and they give you proper information in terms of where they are in St. Kitts. Even if they are in St. Kitts, if you have never met them or made arrangements where you could pinpoint an area in St. Kitts to start from, I'll not be at that end.
So in other words, you're saying people are conducting business incorrectly then? Not everyone.
Well, in terms of that and going about it that way, yes, you're doing yourself more harm than good. Well, you're doing yourself harm. I would advise that, especially if you're going to make any purchase over Facebook, I would not purchase anything over Facebook unless I'm going to meet you somewhere and know you, and you bring documentation to say that what you're offering to sell me is yours. I'm not going to buy it. You might be the police in me. No, it might be the police in me plus. But I will not buy it because I need to establish that we have it's a genuine transaction.
Right.
I'm naturally suspicious, and the police didn't help that.
Right.
So in terms of that, you just need to be mindful and be careful. I had a teacher I was going technical college that used to say, and he used to always have on these gold rings and his fingers a lot. And he used to say, if anybody tries to sell you anything that they say is gold, and the price seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Anything that you feel is too good to be true is more likely too good to be true. Leave it. Don't think you're getting a great deal. Be careful. Anything that you think you're getting too good a deal for, leave it alone. I would definitely give that advice. Try to establish if you're going to purchase anything, even if the transaction started online, and it's an individual, see the person. It is safer to have a physical contact eventually, especially if it involves goods. And we're in the Federation, then let's meet. If we're going to buy anything from you in the Federation, let's meet.
Why isn't that regulated, though?
Because
you have, and I'm being devil's advocate here, right? You have businesses who have to pay the business license, go through the regulations, provide documents, earn credibility and trust with the public. And of course, some will argue and say, well, businesses markup are too high, and I could get the same product from this person online and that person on that line. But then you're still running into the concerns of dealing with individuals that are posing to be credible, and in return, putting yourself in a position where you're paying back a bank for a loan and you don't even have your product.
That is true, and unfortunate. If you can't regulate everything, you just wouldn't have the capacity to regulate everything. Can't regulate you and I doing a transaction, except where it involves large things such as land. If you're selling me land, then there's a process where the government get involved in that, in terms of transfer and things that needs to be taken care of. For things like that, that is a little easier to regulate. But ordinary transactions, you have a good fridge. You say you're leaving, you're going somewhere, you're moving, and you want to sell me, put it on Facebook and purchase. But you have to leave tomorrow, so now there's a rush. And you'll have some business, so you won't be able to meet me, but you can organize to get it to me. And it sounds good. It sounds plausible. But sometimes, like I said, if I'm not going to see or put eyes on the goods, sometimes it's just safer to lose out for fear of losing out.
I hear you. This person is asking. Oh, no, that's not a question for this program. Sorry.
Okay.
So, in other words, correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing from you is, in situations like this, the authorities can do very little unless the individual themselves were prudent in doing business and have documentations to prove. I would still recommend that you report it to the police. The
police still need somewhere to start. Somewhere that we could actually start to do something. And while we may have some agencies that could tap into regional or international resources, sometimes the process and the nature may determine a response. And even that is not guaranteed. It might just be something that we can do, but the success of that is still limited, because it would still mean that while we might reach out to somebody, they still have to find somewhere to make a contact and put a face to an incident, which, because so much of the activity was online, and the nature of what we can do online and remain anonymous still leaves a serious challenge. It's just better to be safe than sorry when you're going to deal with issues like this. I'll give you an example. I bought a particular vehicle and be forward. It took me close to a year before I went through, just because it's suspicious. No, I know be forward is reputable. I got the information from someone who did business. Now, I was researching online, but I was so cautious in terms of using the email address. Even though I got the name, I went and asked somebody for the information that they used, and that is what I used, not what I found online. So because they already had made contact, had a couple successful transactions, I used their information, which was proven. It's a proven. And that is what I use, not what I found online. Because I was still, let me say afraid, because I was afraid that I might find something that says be forward, and it might not be the be forward that is legitimate, even though it gives me the information, because that happens. So I chose to get it from somebody who had used it, who uses it, and that is what I use to start the transaction. So sometimes you have to take those measures, extra steps, just to be mindful, just to, like I said, sometimes you may have to lose out for fear of losing out. So be cautious. I don't think you can be too cautious when it comes to certain things, especially if they're not established businesses that you can talk to somebody who have used it. And if it's your first time, I recommend going to somebody who uses it and use the information from them. Somebody you trust who uses it and use that information and have some conversation and some interaction with them while you're doing that, so you can still have some guidance. Just to be
on the safe side, right? On the safe side. It's unfortunate, though. It's unfortunate that we're having this conversation this morning. 2025. We're supposed to be a society that is more literate, if I can put it that way, and you're finding more people getting caught in all sorts of schemes and scams.
That's true. Convenience is the word of the day.
Convenience
is the word of the day. A couple of years ago, I had a schedule, and I would go into Flow, Cable, Skelec to pay my bills. So I scheduled some time, and I took the walkabout. That time was to pay bills.
Every month?
Where? I took up my phone, and my car sitting down, and I just park up and so, and that's done in a matter of minutes. Now, not because I'm exposed to internet and online. No. Not everybody would see that from the positive of ease of access. There's some persons, just human nature, who see that as an opportunity
to exploit.
To defraud people, to exploit you. So there will be persons who would manfully create a dummy, a fake Skelec or something, to put it on and try to get persons to pay money into that, thinking that they're using legitimate organization and legitimate means. There are persons who sit down, actually sit down and plan, because that takes work and do this kind of thing, unfortunately. But it's convenient, and we're using the conveniences. But there's always the negative side. So while these offer opportunities for us to get things done quicker and maybe time saving, we still have to be mindful that not everyone out there has our best interests at heart. There's persons out there who would want to exploit that particular behavior.
With you.
Unfortunately. That's
But
just the nature of the thing.
the tough task at hand, what I'm hearing from you, is to compensate the individual.
Yeah,
That's the tough part.
Difficult. It's
So hence
difficult.
why you're having this conversation in terms of bringing the awareness
Yes,
to the
because,
public.
okay, like banks and some entities, especially when it comes to credit cards, they take that into consideration. Sometimes they block your card and you're making a refund, depending on the setup or the arrangement you have with the particular entity. So you get back your money. But that still, in the scope of things, is real. And when you're dealing with individuals, especially, that there's no, I don't think any individual, when they're selling you anything, have any, when they're trying to scam you, sometimes you only find out when it's too late. Unfortunately, by the time you have already lost, and there's not much that anyone can do unless the individual is known to you. And you could send the authorities, so the authorities can go to the individual with the information that you've given them and then take the necessary steps. When you don't know who, and you can't verify, and nowadays it's not far-fetched to say that who knows if you're actually talking to an individual. It was a program, artificial intelligence, something that somebody set up that generate some responses based on what you ask. So you just have to be careful. The technology is improving, but not everybody will use it for positive purposes.
Right. So be vigilant. Take your time.
More so, especially given that the technology that we're dealing with now, you just need to be vigilant. And that goes across to when we're using online, whether you're using your card. And the banks always send out things to tell you be mindful, don't share your PIN. Make sure that the sites that you're browsing or interfacing with, try to make sure that they're legitimate before you use the card. Just take precautions. There's a reason for that. Because this thing is too common. Just put it that way, too common. And it costs. And when businesses lose, we lose. Because for them to be in business, they need to make enough money, they need to make profit. And they need to cover that. Whether if it's insurance, and insurance goes up, but something else goes up to compensate for that. And generally, the customer pays some way along the line, directly or indirectly.
So let me ask you
have to be
this.
careful.
So what actions can someone do apart from seeking recourse from the police? Can they go to their financial institution and get compensated? Is there an insurance policy in place? What can the buyer do? Because obviously, as you indicated earlier, you can't regulate everything.
Well, what I know in terms of things like credit card and certain purchases, there are some instances where you can get a refund. When you report the activity, the bank blocks the card, and for some cards that I know of, I can speak on what I know of, that you can get a refund of the funds, at least some of the funds. So that is always advisable, that if you see a suspicious, that's why they always ask you to report suspicious activity on your card. That's why the banks make it a point to send you a message when you swipe or purchase to ask you if you notice, you recognize the transaction, the entity, and if you don't, to report it right away. For the self-same reason, because this happens so much, but they want to safeguard you and themselves. The more they have to compensate you, the more everybody losing. So the more they can prevent that from happening, then it's the better for all. And like I said, in terms of that is few and far between. There's only certain entities that I'm aware of that does that. So a lot of times when you're involved in these, you lose. You lose. And like I said, it's the social media.
That's
the social media, the Facebook and the WhatsApp, and even they say a lot of things. Persons telling you that you want money. You didn't sign up for anything, buy anything. Tell you send money for you to give me money. No,
you didn't buy any tickets. Were you claiming that you didn't purchase?
Yes,
Well, we're out of time. I'll give you 2 minutes or so so that you can wrap up the program. And real quick before you wrap up, let me just put this out there just in case anyone has a question or a concern they would like to get across to you. Maybe they're listening right now and would love to hear your take from the authorities' end, if I can put it that way. 465-1977, 465-1903. I'll save about 2-3 minutes or so to see if anyone would like to get in before I let you wrap up. So if anything else you have to share, you can do so.
Okay. Well, I'll answer that right now. I always advise persons, regardless of the circumstances, report it. So at least there's knowledge that something's going on again. And you never know. Something may happen that we get a lead and we're able to do something, but we cannot do anything at all. There's no hope of anything being done if it is not reported. It happens. Need to be ashamed or anything like that. Just report it. You're defrauded, scammed, whatever the case might be, report it. I think I can't put any claim on that. You just need to report it for there to be a chance for something to be done. Whether the end result is that we are unable to go any further, at least there's something there. Who knows? Something else might happen where we get a lead where we're able to do something and we recognize that it ties into another incident, and that one may help us to solve or get some recourse for several. But we can't do that if it is not reported. And no person gets frustrated when they report things and they feel that nothing is being done, you're not getting justice. But sometimes it's just the nature of the thing. We need something to work on.
Can you actually put on your headphone, please? We got a call coming in.
Yes, I bet you good morning. I listen to the program.
Morning.
But the scanner them smarter than all you. So even though we try to understand you, they're smarter than all you. Because when I don't take it slow behind, they don't go fast and don't block off for you. Take care.
Well, like I said, I always welcome callers and to share their input. And other than the smarter than, the part about they're leaving already, when persons already benefit financially from ill-gotten gain, they don't generally stick around. Well, they won't stick around because they have already gotten what they wanted. And like I said earlier, that's when communication becomes non-existent. You can't reach the person who was so eager and always exciting to talk to you, and it was hitting up your phone.
Hey, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GQ, and good morning to the inspector there.
Good morning, sir.
Very good show. Very informative, and the topic is right. Inspector, I want to ask you a question, because you work CID for quite a while. When a person take a sum of money from an elder person, well, the person asks them to bring in a car for them. and they take the money, they tell them $20,000, they get the $20,000. And up to now, nothing have gone to the court. And the lady been calling me, asking me what she could do. We don't want no violence, you know. These kind of people out there who doing hard-working people, these kind of things. We ain't gonna tolerate it in St. Kitts, you know. Because you ain't gonna take my hard-earned cash where I work hard and sweat for and walk about and me see every day and he go just so, you know. So please, officer, explain these things to the public. Because I'm surprised that reasonable elder lady like her don't even understand the way about going about these things. I know these things from Cecil Roberts, Bouncing Williams and Wayne years ago in the Court of Conscience, the University of Bastille. And people gotta get real and we gonna deal with this scam thing. We're not gonna take on that. It's gonna cause real problem in St. Kitts. So officer, please give me a little version on that, please. Have a good morning. This country love you. And keep the independent songs them coming. I realize I ain't going back deep, you know. I realize I ain't going back deep from 83. Bring the feelings to the people. That's where we people are up there for. Have a good morning. This Jam Down talking, eh? Poor people defend them.
All right, pick up yourself, Jam Down.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Well, I don't know the circumstances, but just at face value, there is cause for recourse. What would need to happen is, like I said again, a report needs to be made to the police and give the circumstances, identify the person, provide some measure of evidence that this actually occurs, so it doesn't seem that is my word against your word. It needs something to shift that. Because if you said that I give you money, and I said I don't, and there's nothing to show that I did give you, it presents a problem. But at face value, yes, there's something to answer there. But like I said, the full measure of what happened, the circumstances, would need to be explained to see exactly what.
All right, so we're going to take one more call and we're going to wrap it up. Good morning, you're live.
Yeah, GQ, I want the officer to know, this lady been making reports all the time. A process done was happening where police investigate the perpetrator and no following up. And something like that should have done in the court because it's almost over 3-4 years now and the person walking up and down with the lady money could cause problem. These things is very itchy in society these days, you know. People rob people, break the house, take the things and they noise you direct, they noise you chill. They're going to come at you at some point in time. They're going to come, you know. Because people work hard. And this is where people got to understand out there. Go and do your thing. Leave people alone, man. Stop harass people. So, have a good morning, GQ.
All right. Thank you again, caller. And, well, like I said, I could only speak based on what the caller is saying. And I'm not aware. But if something was done and there was an investigation, I'm hoping that, when you say it's not before the court, I can't speak for or against that. So I wouldn't know how far in the investigation in that matter would be. I really wouldn't be able to speak to that. But I'm still thankful that something was reported and that it was investigated. Hopefully there is some recourse.
Hopefully. All right, we're going to call it that for this morning. Inspector Thompson, thank you for being here. Your last words?
Like I said, just advise persons to be vigilant. Don't take anything at face value. Get as much information about the activities that you're dealing with online. Try to get persons or reference from persons that you know and trust before dealing with certain entities. If you're unfamiliar with the entity, find out information or leave it alone. individuals that you can't see face to face, put a face to, or meet somewhere, my advice, it might just be in your best interest to leave it alone. And don't, if a deal seems too good to be true, chances are it is. And try and educate yourself as much as you can, whether through internet, individuals, or whatever the means might be in terms of these kind of things. And trust your gut, trust yourself. If you feel uncomfortable at some point in time in the transaction, shut it down. Shut it down, slow it down, whatever the case might be. Get some more information to determine if or how you should proceed. Just protect yourself. You're in the best position to protect yourself, better than the police, better than any business entity when you're dealing with transactions, especially those that involve social media or other online platforms. Just be cautious, be conscious of what happens. And when, like I said, if something makes you feel uncomfortable and it seems too good to be true, it might be best to shut it down at least for a while and dig deeper. I think that's how I end there. Just be conscious and be cautious.
All right. Inspector Thompson, thank you once again, and do enjoy the rest of your morning, man.
You too, sir. And thank all the persons who tuned in and those who continue calling. Have a blessed day.
Stay tuned. We have some more information to share with you. CIBC up next.
What you know, what you know.